Welcome back to Light the Fuse, the Mission Impossible podcast that's creeping towards 1,000 followers on Twitter, and we couldn't be more excited.
We are, it's true.
Yeah?
Follow us on Twitter if you don't already, because we're trying to get to 1,000.
Yeah. I feel like we have more than 1,000 listeners.
Yeah, I hope so.
We're not about numbers here. But anyway, this is Drew Taylor, once again joined by Charles Hood.
Hello.
Joining us on today's episode, two legendary, pre-existing interviewees.
Yes, they have existed before this podcast.
Well, they existed on this podcast.
Yeah, you can check out our interview with. We did a multi-parter with both of them. Yes. Kendra helped us talk about marketing, the missions earlier this year, and then last year Patrick was on to talk about one of his videos that he did about Mission Impossible. Right. Which he makes great videos about them.
He does, and he was wearing a striped shirt.
As always. I know you Patrick Willems fans out there, you know. He always has those striped shirts. Yes. He did not disappoint.
So this is a shortened version. If you want the full-length chat, go on to Patreon and subscribe, and you'll get it. It's 96 minutes, and it's amazing.
Yes, this is a shortened version, and it's more than twice as long. The full 96 minutes is available to our Mission Commander level Patreon subscribers or higher. So yeah, sign up at the Mission Commander level and you'll get this full discussion, which, we discuss Marvel and Michael Bay. We talk a lot about Bad Boys 2. We talk about how Kendra got Tom Cruise's autograph. We talk about James Bond for a bit.
And we talk about you destroying your dad's car.
Yes, I tell the story of the car accident, of when I destroyed my dad's car. That is not in today's episode. You have to sign up for Patreon to get that full story.
Yeah, people are chomping at the bit for that one.
Do you want to hear how I almost died?
Yes.
Everybody wants to know that. And we talked about John Wick. We talked about a lot of stuff that is not in this very edited down version.
But this version is still good. I feel like we're like making people go there and not listen to this.
Yeah, don't listen to this. Go sign up for the Patreon.
All right, fine, go.
No, this is great. It's just, a heavily focused version of the conversation, and still awesome stuff. We break down the set pieces and talk about our favorite set pieces in each Mission Impossible movie.
So listen, and then we'll be back afterwards to wrap things up.
Yes, so enjoy Kevin Blumenfeld's plot theme, because it's not dissimilar. It is exactly the plot theme.
Patrick H. Willems, who you'll know from his fabulous videos, his engaging Twitter persona, and his love of striped shirts.
Yeah, Patrick, you wanted to tell us about where are you, who are you? For those who haven't listened to our old, because it was a year ago now probably that we had you on the show.
It was like last maybe August
that
I was on the show. Yeah, I'm I guess what the kids call a YouTuber. It's actually a bad career choice. I never sleep. I have no days off.
You have interns though, don't you?
Yeah.
That's great. We need to get that.
They're great. Shout out to Ellie and Emma, our summer interns.
They make it possible for you, right?
For 3 months a year, and then it's just back to all me, and I'll have friends help with things. Kendra, the other guest here, did help on videos before she moved to LA.
Yeah.
But yeah, I make videos that are usually what I talk about movies, and I'm the worst at explaining what I do.
But you've done a lot of videos dissecting the Mission Impossible series.
In the past year, I've made 3 videos about the Mission Impossible series because, like I think everyone here, I can't stop talking about them.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And what are the titles though, so people can look them up on YouTube?
The first video is part of a series I do called Patrick Explains. It's called Patrick Explains Mission Impossible and Why It's Great. The next one is called Who is Ethan Hunt? Trying to figure out some sort of through line of characterization through all the movies. And more recently, I did a collaboration with Movies with Mikey called The Story of Mission Impossible.
And by this time, our interview with Mikey will be out. So
great synergy.
You will have
synergy. Yeah.
Look at this. Also, I will say, last time I was on the show, I was recording it remotely from my living room. It's nice to be here and finally to see you guys in person.
Yes. And so our other guest is Kendra.
Hey, Kendra James. She has a last name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she does have a last name.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Kendra, if you would like to introduce yourself and tell us who.
My name is Kendra James. I am a writer. I'm the managing editor of StarTrek.com. Longtime Tom Cruise fan since I don't know, 5th, 4th grade.
We gotta say Picard coming November 15th. Anything else you need to plug? Lower decks. Is that what it's called? The animated lower decks. Yeah, that's kind of.
I mean, I can't talk. This is the week. We're doing this the week before Comic-Con, so all I can say is tune into the Hall H panel.
Okay.
Saturday at Comic-Con.
Will
Well,
you
by
be
this
moderating?
time,
I will not be
you
moderating.
this will have long passed, so you can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
Because this won't come out till the end of August.
Yeah.
So you can say.
Nice
Yeah.
try. Nice try.
And today we're talking about set pieces.
Yes, Mission Impossible set pieces. We've been talking about wanting to do an episode about this.
You guys couldn't get the stunt coordinators, so you got us.
Well, we did talk
had.
to
You talked to Wade.
Wade.
Yeah, I talked to Wade.
yeah.
He drove me around in the BMW.
Wait,
at 100
and then you
something
talked
miles.
to Ilsa's the stunt double for Rebecca Ferguson.
Yes,
as
who's
well.
like a.
We had that episode. That's from last
December?
December.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wait, was it the green BMW?
It was a BMW that I'll find a picture.
It's labeled with Mission Impossible Fallout on it.
It's pretty
It
cool.
was white.
Yeah,
because
it was
it-
at the BMW test range
so
in
cool.
Palm Springs.
Because that green one from the Paris chase is like...
I know. That's McCory's
coolest.
favorite car.
Oh, I
said
know.
that.
I listened to this podcast.
Okay, all right. I forget what we've actually talked about and what we've just inferred or what's been on the Empire podcast. They're really the ones that we got to catch up
I will say,
Yes.
so the 6-hour Macquarie interview on the Empire podcast, I've now listened to it twice.
Yeah.
I have spent so many hours of my life just listening to Christopher McQuarrie talk about the same 2 movies. Because I did it first for enjoyment a year ago, and then I did it for research for a video a few months ago, and I'm like, it's a lot of time.
But there's
yeah.
he always has great stuff. Like if you follow him on Twitter, he always is answering people's questions on Twitter. And just,
He has one of the best Instagrams.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
Instagrams are always. He always
Yeah.
just does a little ellipsis, just like ... and never explains what the picture is.
Right. Honestly, between his interviews and commentary tracks and his Twitter account, he's kind of just kind of a film school.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
learn
Yeah.
so much about everything
Totally.
from just
Yeah, so there's me and Wade in the BMW.
Oh my
Oh, nice.
God.
Yeah.
We can repost these.
We can
when
put,
this-
yeah.
That rules.
So yeah, he was great. Apparently, I
BMW
look like a
right
guy on his
There's the
team.
BMW right there.
Yeah, there's the BMW.
Whoa.
Oh, they got it. They literally got it shrink
Oh
wrapped.
yeah. Oh yeah.
It gets wrapped with Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous you get to go around that track with Wade.
It was pretty intense. He was going very fast, and I was like, "Tom Cruise can do this," and he's like, "Yeah." So yeah, it was great.
All right, let's talk about.
We're talking about
Let's
set
talk about the
pieces.
set pieces. Let's talk about the set piece of the first movie.
Not a lot.
Do we consider the cold open a set piece? It's kind of like a.
I don't
don't
think
think
so.
so.
It's not really.
Well, because it wasn't an action series yet.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was kind of like a thriller. There's one action scene, I would say, in the first movie.
Which you
Right.
see, you
And-
see
but
all of it in
but
the
I would
trailer.
still consider even the agent's massacre at the end of the first act.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a set piece. It's like all of them
Right.
blowing. There's a car blowing up. He's
True.
running around trying to get everybody's getting killed.
The
But I
elevator.
consider that to be a set piece.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you would say the agent's dying.
Langley.
Obviously, Langley.
Langley.
And the bullet train.
the
Right.
bullet train.
Yeah.
I mean, the flashbacks of
Oh,
everybody
what
getting
about
killed?
the explosion? The water tank.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
I think-
the aquarium
That's
restaurant.
it's a
I
great
love
scene.
that scene.
It's so good. I just that is the scene that I think I'd return to and watch the most.
Yes.
Just for the way the angles evolve as the camera gets further and further up the noses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of,
it pushes under Kitchers's nose.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
I've
it's
also
so good.
I've tried to figure out what lenses they're using in that to I've tried to reverse engineer and recreate just those exact angles because I like them so much.
Yeah.
And
Well, I know
it's
they're
great.
shooting anamorphic.
Exactly,
They
which
sometimes
I
have that information on IMDb under
Oh,
technical specs.
I spend too much time looking up those, looking up okay, what are the film stocks, and do I have LUTs that recreate those film
Yeah.
stocks?
Is that information more accurate than the trivia?
Yes.
Okay.
It is. Especially into what cameras they use and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
will say, so I was just recently at a screening of the first Mission Impossible movie.
Oh, you did the marathon.
Yeah.
It was at a museum in New York, right?
Yeah, the Museum of the Moving Image in Astoria, Queens. They've been doing this whole action movie series this summer, which has been great. I've been there a lot. But over Memorial Day weekend, they did all 6 Mission Impossible movies, all on 35mm except for Fallout.
We saw
And
Fallout
we think,
35.
and
yeah.
I think our theory was that Fallout copy was here for the secret
Vista screening that we
Yeah.
went
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But I bought the weekend pass, which was the price of 2 tickets. I saw 3 of the movies.
Okay.
I saw 1, 5, and 6. But I'd never. The first movie was the only one I had never seen on the big screen, and so I finally got to fix that. And watching it in a packed theater, the collective gasps when Jean Reno drops the knife at the end of the Langley break-in were like still 23 years later were so loud. It was so
amazing.
satisfying. It still works so well, like with an audience.
Yeah.
That I was so glad I got to see that again. I'm like, oh, this is still one of the best set pieces in the series.
Maybe the best even. So how do you feel about the train sequence? Because it's sort of controversial in some
like
ways.
it.
Like some people don't like it or think it
I
doesn't
love
fit.
the
Obviously the
stuff
screen,
the stuff ILM did. Is
it
just
still
amazing.
stands
Yeah.
up and is amazing. But even the screenwriters, as we've talked about a lot on the show, were opposed.
Yeah.
Kep and Town were opposed about what should happen on the train.
Yeah.
Because Robert Town wanted it to just be a conversation.
This I remember seeing that in the De Palma documentary.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine if that movie ended with just people talking in a train?
Yeah.
It'd be terrible.
Well, it's like, yeah, you wonder, like, I don't know, the franchise, as you said about, like, it's become much more of an action franchise, and it wasn't at this time.
Right.
Imagine if it didn't have the train.
I genuinely love that sequence. I love, like, especially the beginning of it, that shot that starts as, like, a helicopter shot, then goes up to the window, as you just see, Phelps, who you can't see who it is, but just, like, was it, like, loading the case?
Yeah.
And,
He's got a fake, like, a discrete gun that he's building.
Oh, I thought
Exactly.
that was Phelps.
That's
and it's got 2 bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the shade is pulled down most of the way.
Yeah.
And just like when you see Cruise on the roof of the train, and just the winds are so intense.
Yeah.
And like is it blue screen or rear projection? I always
blue
forget.
screen.
Blue screen.
Okay.
With
We have some
models.
images that
Yeah.
we've posted before on our social media, and our making of episode of the first movie covers this a lot. They had like crazy jet engine, like shoot, so they had like 140-mile-per-hour winds in their face.
That looks really good, but it's interesting to me that you guys are saying that it like holds up in that way. Because for me, so my boyfriend had never seen any of these movies, so we rewatched them all together, and both of
I'm
us.
honestly surprised you dated him.
Listen.
Yeah.
Again, he liked Bravo reality shows, so it worked. But so that scene for both of us, we were kind of just like, this doesn't look as good as even everything in movie 2 then ends up looking.
Wow.
Like I think it's just I think it's because of the blue screen stuff. Because I'm not watching Tom Cruise now in 2019. I am not used to seeing him work with blue screen.
Yeah.
That's true.
And so
Right.
for me,
I
that's
get
a little
that.
jarring.
Yeah.
But it's just beautiful effects work. I love that it
Yeah.
was models and things like that.
And it really hasn't been done as well, I think, since. Like I think the Wolverine has a whole thing on the train.
It's not as good.
It doesn't look as
No.
good. I
Yeah.
think Spider-Man 2 has a pretty great train
It's
sequence.
good too because it's
Except
quick.
that it's above ground, and that doesn't exist in New York City. But
But worth it for that scene. But it doesn't exist, but it should.
Right.
But just like the return of the gum, which which is
Yes.
fun because like it's set up with Emilio Estevez, Hasta Lasagna, and which actually
that means nothing to me.
he says when he shows him like red light, green light, Hasta Lasagna, don't get any on ya. Okay, I'm gonna rewrite Mission Impossible, the first movie.
Okay.
In the climactic scene, when Ethan Hunt is hanging on the helicopter, he should take the gum out. But instead of saying red light, green light, he should shout, Hasta Lasagna, and then mush the gum on, and that should be his finishing one-line.
And then Gene Renault just says, what is this?
Do we want to move on to MI2?
Well,
Any other
what's the
thoughts
best
on
one?
Should we talk about what is the? I mean, I think it's Langley. I mean, for me,
It's
Langley's
the
great.
restaurant.
The thing, well,
No,
the
it's
thing
fine.
is, the great thing about the train too is the Danny Elfman music. And
Yes.
that sequence
Yes.
is amazing.
Yeah.
But the music also in the aquarium restaurant scene is incredible
Yeah.
too, which we've talked about recently in our music episodes.
Yeah.
We played a clip of that. It's so good.
But Langley, no music, best set piece.
It's
Think about
it's
that.
the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I had a scorching hot take that was like actually
This one doesn't really offer that much for Scorch.
especially when it has a set piece that is not even one of the most iconic in the series. It's like of the 90s.
Yeah.
Yes.
And still there are people who are doing parodies of it and stuff. You still
I'm sure
see
you've
it.
seen that Spectrum van that drives, or AT&T that drives around. That has the
where they have
woman
a-
thing.
Oh,
She's
yes,
and it's like in
yeah.
a white room. It looks just like the line lady. Like Toy Story 3 did a thing.
Yeah.
That had a reference.
That's
Like,
just
I mean,
like what it's just like a thing in just. It's almost like a sort of like spy shorthand. It's like, oh, they dangle from ropes, like with their arms and legs out.
And I think we talked about this on ours. They gave they gave most of the set pieces away in the trailer for this one, right?
Yeah.
I think we talked
You
about
see
that.
the blade come to his neck in the
Yeah.
trailer. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
All right, let's
Alright,
talk about MI2.
too.
This is when I read
It's-
the podcast.
what's weird is what's weird about MI2 is that there actually isn't that much action in MI2 until the finale, when it's like a half hour straight of motorcycle mayhem and
Yeah.
masks and
This is a-
shootings and doves and
This is honestly my biggest beef with MI2. I know it's the one that it's the least popular one, but I feel like the idea of having like crazy John Woo stuff in the series is fine, but I find the movie oddly kind of boring. And I'm like, why is there no action until an hour into the movie?
Yeah.
Like, if
I
he
mean,
was
there's
doing
sort of the car romance thing that's kind of reminiscent of GoldenEye.
Do we count
Right.
the cliff jumping? as-
no,
Okay.
The cliff is kind of a set piece.
I consider that a set piece.
well, it's a stunt that has no story purpose.
Yes.
Right.
It's
that's true.
just
He's on vacation.
Well, he's on
It's just
vacation.
there.
But it is
Yeah.
the most, probably, I would assume you'd all agree, the most iconic moment of MI2. Just him hanging from the cliff.
It
like,
is.
Yes.
Those
Well, there's
images,
also the
like,
motorcycle like jump off and like
motorcycle
grab in
joust.
the air. Yeah.
But,
joust.
but that was also the first
That's
like
what they called it in the production. The motorcycle joust.
right. But that was like the first, like, oh my god, Tom Cruise really did the stunt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, the climbing, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing that's always frustrated me is I wish that was like the climactic scene where he's climbing this cliff,
Right.
but it's but it has a story function.
Which McCory then did.
Yes.
He was like, let me take
The story
that
function
and make it awesome.
The
Yeah.
function of the cliff scene was to get 12-year-olds into the theater.
And it worked.
And it worked.
I mean,
So-
highest grossing
Right.
film of 2000.
Yeah.
Well, I remember your analysis of MI2 is like, it's like Jackass.
Yeah, it
Meets
was
Mission Impossible.
It was a because I mean I assume you listened because you said
I
you were
did.
screaming at the
He
thing.
doesn't support you in that regard.
No,
I'm
Look,
used
Kendra,
to this.
that was so weird to hear you make the Jackass reference because in my recent video, I did my section on MI2 in the style of Jackass, and I recreated the Jackass theme song, but with the Mission
my God.
Impossible instead.
Well, yeah, because it's like so much of that time, and
Yeah.
like those were the set pieces that we grew up with,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah. But anyway, set pieces in this movie. It's like there's
Biosite.
Oh, well, then
there's
there's,
like
yeah, the-
Biosite, they
Yeah.
coming in, which
Where
we've talked
he
about. It's like,
narrates it, like
yeah, it's like sort of trying to be a deconstruction because
aerobatic
while-
insanity.
Yeah, like the bad guy is like talking about what Cruise is gonna
Aerobatic
do.
insanity. That's my Del Rey.
gotta roll those R's
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
more.
Yeah.
That's that funny period that I always think about where it's like The Matrix and its sequels shoot in Australia, so much of the supporting cast is Australian. Star Wars episodes 2 and 3 shoot in Australia. Everyone's Australian in those movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible 2, it's the only series that's not a globe-trotting adventure, just in Australia.
Yes, yeah. We talk about how it's like the 80s show because of that. Because they had to shoot in Australia and they were using pre-existing scripts from the 60s show because of some kind of writer's strike.
Right.
So, but, I mean, there's the Biosite, there's the motorcycle joust.
I will say, not a set piece, but a thing that has stayed with me through life of that movie is getting his finger cut off with the cigarette.
Oh,
cutter.
yeah. Charles has a whole homosexual reading of that.
Well,
scene.
I mean,
Oh.
how could you not?
Oh yeah, the castration.
I mean,
thing,
well,
yeah.
it's just
You're
like-
right.
And it's
There-
also
he's
the
in-
staging
the
is him
staging
in
of it.
front of him. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
we talked about it. We have our MI2 commentaries now out for our Patreon subscribers. But yeah, there's the whole sequence where it's very North by Northwest. The Martin Landau, James Mason relationship where Martin Landau is jealous of Eva Marie Saint. It's the same
Right.
thing with Richard Roxburgh in this. Is very jealous of Tandy Newton.
So, thinking about set pieces, I feel like so much of the last half hour of the movie is kind of a continuous set piece. It's like there's different like components to it. It's like when they're in the base, and then escaping the base, and then all the motorcycle stuff, and then the fight.
Yes.
And they're all kind of connected.
So
And-
what's your favorite?
Honestly, it is once he's away from the base on the motorcycle. Because I think the move where he spins on the front tire
Oh, it's
and shoots the
great.
car,
It's
That's
so,
pretty
cool.
so good.
It's so
It's a-
cool.
it's a
And when he
good
drags
move.
his feet on the ground,
Yeah.
like he
It's
jumps off
cool.
to the side.
Yeah.
And that's when I watch the movie, I'm like, if it were all like this in maybe better locations, I'd like it more. If it were like Hard Boiled, where he's got like a big shootout in the first 10 minutes, that'd be great.
Yeah, it seems like it was a very handcuffed John Woo directing this movie.
Sounds like it was a contentious situation.
You think so?
I think so.
Well, hopefully we're going to get John Woo at some point. We'd love to talk to him about it.
I just talked to Hans Zimmer, and he gave a brief anecdote, which I didn't record.
For the show?
For
Lion
King.
Oh.
And but he's interested in coming on the show, so hopefully, yeah. But he said that he came up. He was in Australia, stuck. He was trying to get out of Australia. I think he went down there to meet with the production, and he came up with the Naya theme in like 6 hours while waiting to leave Australia, which is kind of interesting.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. And then
it's very the movie's got a lot of romantic music to it.
Yes.
It's got the like Lisa Gerard wailing vocals that they had on Gladiator like a month later.
Yeah, I know. That's what if we get to talk to Zimmer, I want to ask him about how that started. Was MI2 first? Was
they recorded together?
Yeah. I'm curious about that whole process.
So are we in agreement? Motorcycle.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
No.
I know that This is the scene I always talk about, and you always get annoyed with me for talking about.
Here we go.
Does the hospital room mousetrap count as a set piece? You know, where they trick Brendan Gleeson
into
thinking that he's sick and dying, and then he wakes up and it was a nightmare, and he wakes up in the limo.
I don't think so.
No, because they do that in not every movie, but they've done that multiple times.
All right, let's do the motorcycles.
That's
my favorite
when he's
scene.
defeated.
That's my favorite scene. I love it. We did our commentary for it recently, and we were sort of dissecting why it doesn't fully work.
Yeah.
And it's because it's too much confusion because you don't know that the good guys are doing that.
Yes.
Right.
But then you see Billy Barrett
you think Ethan is
is
hanging out with Tandy, and then they reveal that it's actually Sean Ambrose wearing an Ethan mask.
Oh, there's a lot.
And then it's just like there's so many things going on at the same time that it's a little. You don't get the same satisfaction as you do with the mousetrap at the beginning of the first movie.
Or Fallout.
Right.
Yeah.
Fallout was the one that you
Fallout
stand up
so
and
good.
cheer.
Yeah.
Because it takes so long.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
I will say, just like as much as I do enjoy the motorcycles scene, every time I watch it, it kills me that it's in the most boring location.
Yeah.
These
It
look like
ruins
just
it.
like suburban streets.
Yeah, anonymous.
Also, okay, I'm gonna go with the beach fight. Knife in the eye.
I'm not that into the kicking and all that.
You know, like sand going
Yeah.
Sand,
You should call it Kicking Impossible.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think that section of the motorcycle chase is great. Mm-hmm. And Charles is wrong.
Okay. Cool. Good to know. MI3. So MI3, what do we got? We've got
Helicopters?
The helicopter in Berlin. Yeah, the
windmill. Yeah.
Bridge in DC.
The drone.
Yeah,
bridge.
that's right. The bridge in DC, the Vatican.
Oh, I love that.
The Shanghai building.
Yeah.
The running.
With the tennis ball things and
Where they skip
and
the
then
wrist.
the Chinese village at the end.
Yeah.
Or wherever that
Which
is.
has the longest continuous shot of Tom Cruise running on film.
Yes.
21 seconds.
All right.
I made a point of...
It still holds it over the shot in Fallout.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I made a point of I wanted to have a shot of me running that was like longer than that shot.
And
you got tired?
Could not do it.
No, it's very hard to do on the Brooklyn Heights Promenade when there are a lot of pedestrians around, so it took a few tries.
Mikey was in awe of that, by the way. He
Yes,
loved
when
that
we
you
talked
did
to
that.
Mikey, he was very impressed that you did that.
It was but I just remember it was that's very nice to Mikey, but I remember like breaking down being like, okay, it's like 21.4 seconds, and I've got to make sure ours is like longer than that.
You love the Vatican sequence?
Vatican is by far my favorite.
Same.
I love the
Yeah.
Vatican sequence
Yes.
so much. The whole thing, it's just Mission Impossible. It's like, one of the best.
There is something interesting about the bridge sequence in that he interacts with pedestrians.
Yeah, you've brought that up
Yeah.
before. That you never see them
They never
helping
interact
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting thing that I think, did you talk about this in your Avengers video, that they don't interact with
Yes.
normal humans anymore?
Yeah, well, post Whedon, they don't. Yeah.
Because there were people on the street that they would talk to.
Or
they were like
help.
help.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
in the two Whedon Avengers movies, there's a lot of shots of just like pedestrian reactions and like them helping people.
He
and-
does in Infinity War. Stark, when they're coming out of...
Yes, it is for 1 second, and then
Yeah.
all the pedestrians are gone, and you never see them again.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. But he does like stop
one
and
of those
touch
shots is an
someone.
entirely CGI Robert Downey Jr. The thing where he goes like this and the nano bites
Yep.
come
Right.
out. That's I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy.
And but you're right, that is the one time in Mission Impossible.
Yeah, because he's like, get those guys out of the van or whatever.
Yeah. They're never like trying to help
It's a really interesting. I love the goo like that is on the van that they crack.
That's
to get
really
him
cool.
Oh
out.
yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's a cool scene.
3 is interesting too because it doesn't end in a climactic anything really. I mean,
Yeah, the
it's
climax.
a shootout.
Well, that's the thing
sorta.
that we've always talked about, the pyramid structure, which Fallout finally solved.
Yeah.
Which
Yes.
the midpoint set piece is always the biggest one, which obviously since we're talking about set pieces, we should discuss that. But like 1, Langley, 2 doesn't actually fit in this because Biosite is really not the best. That one, the motorcycle really is. But 3 is the Vatican, 4 is Dubai, 5 is the motorcycles. And then, or opera, if you consider that to be the mid.
Opera,
but either way, those are bigger set
Opera's
pieces
kind
than
of
like
like
Opera's
an
the
alley.
best one.
Yeah, it's. I've been skipping
not there
ahead.
yet. Sorry.
But it's kind of like a end of Act 1 set piece.
But they're both in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
If you could argue either
Yeah.
opera or motorcycles, the
Yeah.
finale of that one is smaller.
Exactly.
So it's like they're always like bigger in the middle
Right,
until Fallout, where he really blew
It's
it
the
out.
what's it called? The underwater thing.
Yes.
But it's the underwater heist into the car chase into the motorcycle chase.
Yes, which is huge.
Yeah.
And that
The Taurus.
is
The Taurus.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
What is a Taurus other than like a
Well,
Can we
it-
talk about what Taurus really means?
It was the fake name for the movie, right?
Yes, and each movie subsequently has been a different zodiac.
So
so Aries was 4.
Aries was Ghost Protocol, yeah.
Taurus was 5.
And then Gemini
was 6.
Fallout.
I do
Yeah.
remember hearing
And
that.
so
called
you
Gemini.
wonder if 7 and 8 will continue that trend, and they'll have the fake.
So if you see anybody
Whoa.
shooting on
and it's a
Cancer
zodiac symbol.
and
because they
whatever,
love
yeah.
shooting these movies in the U.S.
here in Burbank, they're all shot in Burbank.
yeah. So 3 we are in unanimous agreement.
Vatican. I mean,
Seems
like
you've
it,
got Hoffman playing Cruz playing Hoffman.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. So 4, do we even need to talk about anything else?
Well, we should talk about because there's some amazing set pieces.
Yeah, there
Obviously,
I
think-
love the car.
I mean, the car
thing.
following
Yeah,
is
the-
great.
The car and the Kremlin.
Yeah.
The Kremlin
I
is
do.
really fun with
Does
the
he
E
talk to
screen.
civilians at the Kremlin, or is they just
No.
running by?
Yeah,
him?
just
No.
running by.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess the cop
It's
is
true,
sort
it's
of
in
the most civilian-ish.
Yeah.
It's just everything works in Ghost Protocol. It
Yeah.
all is fucking great, but how do you
Let's see,
compare
I
it to Dubai?
actually want to know, do you think everything works, Patrick? Because you told us that Rogue Nation is your platonic ideal of a Mission Impossible
Which
movie.
I've heard you cite on multiple episodes.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to hear my name come
Yeah.
up.
I'm
Yeah.
just so taken aback anytime someone likes Rogue Nation more than Ghost
Never
Protocol.
understand.
Yeah,
it.
I don't get
I
it.
don't understand why you can't get that.
I just can't
It's
wrap
so
my
great.
head around
Ghost Protocol's a perfect movie.
Yes.
But it-
Oh, so you're withdrew.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
yeah.
love Ghost Protocol.
But it's not.
I mean, I love Ghost Protocol as well. I don't. He's so baffled by people who love Rogue Nation the best.
It just really hurts.
Are you baffled by it as well?
I think Ghost Protocol is so perfect because it's like an animated movie but just live action and it's perfect.
But here, let's hear.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, I feel bad saying this,
No,
but
it's-
I'm going to mention the things I think don't work as well in Ghost Protocol.
Okay.
After the Burj, I think it really kind of like grinds to a halt with that scene where Ethan is going to meet with the guy that he like broke out of prison early on to like get them like a plane or something like that. I think like whenever I watch it,
I hope our episodes illuminated that was supposed to be Vanessa Redgrave.
yes,
And they did not get
I
that.
did learn that, but
Yeah.
every time I watch the movie again, I'm like, oh, I forgot about
The fog.
The fog. Yeah.
this scene, and just Brandt doesn't seem to like. You can tell that they had to like change the plan for that character because like I love Brandt in Rogue Nation.
Okay.
I think McQuarrie figured out exactly what to do with him. I think he's right that Renner works best when he's frustrated, and especially paired with Ving Rhames. Brandt seems a little superfluous for me for like a bunch of Ghost Protocol, and I think some of the Mumbai stuff, just like the whole like seduce the rich guy thing, I don't think that's great. Again, I think it peaks so much with so both Rogue Nation and Ghost Protocol sort of like in terms of scale peak in the middle. Like they have their biggest sequences in the middle, but Rogue Nation still has a very emotional climax because like Benji is threatened and Ethan has to do this stuff to like protect his friends. Ghost Protocol doesn't have a very emotional climax and just has a climax that's fun but is less engaging and less interesting than what comes earlier. And I think that one it's fun all the way through, but it's just nothing is as good or as compelling as the middle of the movie.
Well, sort of makes sense. Like Ghost Protocol, and what's at stake at the end is the world, or I guess it's what is it? San Francisco is going to get hit,
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but that's not. That's faceless to us.
Yeah.
Whereas there's a face to the danger, which is Simon Pegg's character, who we now, of course, care about a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get
See,
that. I get that.
I find the final car park scene so compelling because
yeah.
I'm watching that.
It's fun.
It's fun, but also like it physically hurts to watch that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's what keeps me into that.
And again, I'm talking about like one of my favorite movie series. Like, I like all these movies so much, and I feel bad like shitting on one of them. And especially Ghost Protocol, it's great. It's great. I just like Foundation the best.
Okay.
So here's the question: If it was Vanessa Redgrave, would it change?
Yes.
Like what would that do for the movie? Would it rise in your rankings? Instead of the fog, it's Vanessa Redgrave in that scene. How much would that change how you react to the movie?
I don't think it would change my ranking necessarily, because I still feel pretty good about my top 3. But that would add a lot because again we know so little about that guy who is in prison with Ethan.
Don.
Yeah, he's like funny, but he's not really a character. We don't know anything about their relationship really. But if it were Max, then that would suddenly tell us stuff about what had happened in between movies. It would like add to their relationship. It would add stuff to like it would tell us more about Ethan because clearly that meant that like he has actually kept
They've stayed in touch.
He kept with this person, and I think that would add a whole new dimension to the movie.
But the blonde guy was in the first movie. It gives you a little bit of that. He's kept in touch with that guy, the guy from Die Hard.
Yeah.
The blonde guy. Yeah. And look, guys, I like Ghost Protocol. I like it.
I'm satisfied with this.
Yeah.
This
All right.
thesis.
All right.
Well, on to Rogue Nation.
The opera.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
the
mean-
opera.
It's the
The
opera.
opera, and then there's the underwater thing. Well, that's similar to Dubai. There's
Taurus and
the Taurus into the motorcycle. It's like a whole section of the
Taurus
movie.
car
That's why,
motorcycle.
to me, I would probably put that. I just love the motorcycle chase.
Oh, it's so good.
And then there's the
much.
foot chase at the end.
And I love the opera sequence. I mean, I
Yeah.
love this movie. And the foot chase at the end is great. I think I felt disappointed by it. I think when I first saw the movie because it's that same pyramid thing where it gets so small. But now when I revisit, I love the whole London section.
Just
at
the heavy
end.
shadows of
It's
it.
so great.
Like when Ilsa has the knife fight with was it the bone
Crusher.
Bone
Yeah,
doctor?
the Bone Doctor.
Bone
yeah.
Doctor, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just putting him in a box. It's very emotionally satisfying and interesting to not kill the villain for once.
And also have the villain not be able to kill Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
Because then
Right.
he'll lose everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great movie. I'm not.
Yeah. He memorizes all the numbers.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's where we find out about his photographic memory.
Yeah.
We
love
talk
Ethan's
about a lot of
little-
Ethan's skills.
Yeah, we love his
the lip
artistic skills.
Yeah, he draws, the lip reading, photographic memory.
Yeah.
The opera. I love that sequence so much.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the rare kind of like set piece that's closer to the first movie because it's not really an action scene. It's a suspense
No,
Right.
sequence.
it's actual spying.
And I also
happening.
like-
Yeah.
It's spy work.
And Cruz is really funny when he goes up against the tall guy.
Also, like the flute is a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
great.
love that really crazy like CGI push in on the note that
Yes.
races across
Right.
the page. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, that little flourish
Which is
there.
yeah.
that's very much. I know that McQuarrie I think hadn't even seen Man Who Knew Too Much, but that's very much in Man Who Knew Too Much, where they're
Yeah.
building
Yeah, 'cause he was
toward. They're
basing it
building.
off of the Scorsese.
He was basing it on the
Keith
Scorsese
Reserva.
short,
Yes.
which was a riff on Man Who Knew Too Much, where Man Who Knew Too Much is all building toward this cymbal crash. One of the I wanted to use talking about Elsbeth and the cinematography. It just reminds me one of my favorite shots in the whole series is the beginning of the opera sequence. It's like Cruz up on this he's up on the second level. It's over his shoulder, looking down at the some important dignitary or somebody's
Yeah.
walking, and that's the person who's going to get assassinated. And that person comes out of their car. We move with Ethan across, and then he goes over and looks down the stairs, and then I think he sees Benji down there. So it's this really amazing coordinated shot that is very complicated and awesome.
It's this really elegant camera move that it doesn't announce itself as like this is all one shot.
No,
and
I would bet most people don't even notice.
I think it didn't occur to me until maybe the second or third time I watched it.
Yeah.
But
It's a very
it's
complicated
great.
shot and awesome.
Isn't that the shot that introduces Ethan in that scene?
Yes, I think so.
Because it's like with
Because
Benji
Benji
entering.
doesn't know that he's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, good scene.
It's really amazing.
One thing we can agree on: Robert Elsbeth, pretty good.
Pretty good at what he does.
Yeah.
good at what he does.
And also, he's the color palette for Ghost Protocol is totally different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I know McQuarrie said that he wanted a different look to Fallout, but
He had a
clearly,
different one already for Rogue Nation.
Elsbeth can already do it.
Are we done with Rogue Nation? Wait, did we all agree? No, who's got what?
I said opera.
Opera.
Yeah, I'll do opera. You're gonna do Taurus and
Not the tour. I think it's the motorcycles.
Well, we're
If
saying
that
it's
includes
a-
Taurus, then
wait,
yes.
Cars and motorcycles? Because I love the car chase.
Yes.
Yeah, the car chase
that's
is
the
really
thing.
fun,
It's
but-
it's kind of it has a similar escalation as we talked about with Ghost Protocol, and then Rogue Nation does it, and then Fallout does it, where in Paris, where it's like there are like 3 tiers to this one set piece.
Yeah,
So
Fallout
with that
kind
in
of
mind,
swaps it because it goes motorcycle to car instead of car to
Yes.
motorcycle.
yeah, I guess I'm gonna go with the where is that in? Is that Morocco or something?
yeah.
Yeah.
Casablanca.
I'm going.
Casablanca.
I'm going with that.
All right.
So I'm the one outlier. I'm sorry, everybody.
Well,
Pack it up. Let's go.
But I love the opera too. It's one of the best.
so Fallout has as many
Yeah.
potentials.
Yes.
This is
We were talking about
where
before we
I'm
started.
stuck.
Like, does the bathroom fight count as a set piece?
Yes, right?
I think
yeah.
so. It's
Halo
so
jump.
big. And,
Halo jump is one.
Oh right,
obviously.
Halo jump too.
The
Jeez.
Halo jump, I think it's because it was so oversaturated in like the publicity for it. Seeing it, obviously, so impressive, so great. It didn't do for me what I thought it was going to do, and it was everything else that we didn't get to see like 50 million times
Right.
played on every talk show that I was really
Right.
impressed with.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it was so hyped.
Yeah.
And there's so many huge sequences in this
So
movie.
are we gonna
It's like,
break
how do you-
down the Paris? Because it's like the lane breakout is one
Right.
section,
Right.
and then
there's motorcycle.
motorcycles, and then it's
Then
BMW.
there's BMW.
Yeah.
To me, it's all kind of one set piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The same way that I think that Casablanca is one set piece
Yeah, I
for
agree.
Rogue Nation. And then also Dubai
Yeah.
for Ghost Protocol.
With the sandstorm chase.
So it's like the Paris set piece.
Yes.
I guess is what we would call
And then we
that.
have London, and then
Yeah, the London foot chase.
Yeah.
is
Chase.
insane.
and then the mountains.
the
helicopters, yeah.
Yeah.
Which it also has
There's 50 things going on.
helicopters to fight on the cliff.
Yes.
Yes.
And the
Ilsa with
Benji.
versus- yeah.
Which is that one's
Song.
pretty good.
I mean, the best climax of the series.
Yes.
I mean, when we get to this right now, just talking about it and coming off of all the other ones, it's like this one has multiple bests of the. You
It's the best movie
you
of
could
this-
do the
of the
top.
franchise.
You could do the top 5 set pieces all from this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, between the bathroom fight, the Paris chase, the London foot chase, and the helicopters, that's already 4. And then also, can we count the mousetrap at the beginning as a set piece?
And the Halo jump.
And the Halo jump. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you? This is insane.
I'm gonna go with Paris for my favorite set piece.
Oh, so you're just combining all of it.
No, I mean, no, not the fight.
Oh, no, okay.
From
And-
Solomon Lane.
Gotcha.
on. Yes.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Solomon Lane to the end of the BMW.
Yes.
Okay.
That would be one set piece that we'll
Exactly.
call
That it
the
escalate-
Solomon breakout. Let's call that's the set.
Yeah,
piece.
just like the way that begins with like the music is like the helicopter comes in with
Yeah.
Solomon Lane and just up through because like I love like the motorcycle chase is nuts sorry I'm just like flashing through all these shots that I love so much in it, but then like that I'm weirdly obsessed with just like car chases in Paris in movies, right? And this finally was like this is anything that makes me think of Ronin. I just makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And just the dynamic of the motorcycle and the car. I love it.
I haven't seen Ronin in so long. Was that in Paris or was it? It was.
Yeah.
It was okay. I've got to watch it again.
That is
It's
my
been
that
like,
is my
it's been like 20 years since I watched that movie.
that is my all-time favorite car chase.
It's so
in
good.
Cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I mean, again, I just like to, the appeal of Tom Cruise for me is the fact that, like, you just get to watch him hurt himself. Like, I mean, that's not the whole appeal, but that is, like, one of the big things. And again, that comes from growing up in an era of, like, Viva La Bam. Like, that is, honestly,
you're
though,
right.
like, that's what I came home after school and watched. And
That's Jackass.
yeah,
Okay,
that was the
yeah.
spin-off of Jackass.
Where he's mean to his parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was,
Oh, that's
Remember,
right.
yeah.
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 Mean in ways black children could never dream of being. So I was just like, yeah. Anyway, so like half the appeal is just like watching him put his body in these like terribly vulnerable positions. And sort of similarly to the car drop in 4, the fight is just painful. Like you can feel every single
Yeah.
He's
hit.
so tired.
Yeah,
bone
and not just
crunchy.
him. Not just him. Like also Cavill, and then whoever, I don't know who the Asian dude is. They got
Yeah.
to
So
play.
he's a stunt guy, right?
Yeah.
Is that they were going to have an actor play
It was
that.
gonna
Right.
be Leslie
Yes.
Odom Jr.
Yeah.
Really? I
Yeah.
thought we had heard that it was
He
maybe
said
going to be
it-
Fassbender.
yeah, he said
Michael
they were-
Fassbender, maybe.
I've heard the Leslie thing.
I can't remember what interview it was, but Macquarie, or was it the commentary track?
Maybe.
He specifically has said Leslie Odom Jr. was gonna
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
play
okay.
that.
But
And
I'm
then-
so glad they didn't because
Yeah,
like it was so brutal. It was perfect, and
right.
Cavill and Cruz like matched that guy. That guy did not look like
And
he
he
was
was
holding back.
it was surprising that he could like do all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
I
was-
mean that overhead shot in the stall
Yes.
when he just ruins them in like I don't know like 2 square feet.
Yeah.
Or when Cavill just like does he grab a piece of pipe or the whole sink?
No,
like
it-
with his
they-
bare
Oh
hand.
yeah, he like
Just
wraps it
rips
around.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was the stunt guy who did that, but is it Cavill? I can't
No,
remember.
it's in quotes John Lark.
Okay.
Yeah, because then there's like the kind of like point on it, so when he
Yes.
holds it to
Yeah.
his neck.
Yeah,
but
they,
yeah.
like hooks him back with it.
my favorite thing in that sequence is
insane.
just when after he's like holding Cavill and just like kicks him in the head, and then Ethan's just like on his knees and he's just like kind of.
He just sighs.
Yeah,
It's just like,
and then he just runs at him.
Yeah.
So he has like nothing better to do.
and I like that development to Hunt because like from 4 on, you just get to see him exasperated
Yes.
about his job.
Yeah, and weary.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, he becomes more human, I think, in
Yeah.
those later ones.
More
They
human
like let him
while
have
this-
more vulnerability. So,
Yeah. Well, at the same time, just doing more and more ridiculous shit.
Right.
Yeah.
As we talk about this, I keep coming back to the thought that I had after 6, which is, what do you do
Space.
with the next
You go to
one?
space.
Yeah.
You go to
But the
space.
thing about space is you can't fall off anything because there's no gravity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but-
what McQuarrie said. You need gravity.
You do need gravity, but there's just like so many terrifying things that you can do up there. Like,
Right. But I mean, going to space, it's, again, because like I also love the Fast and Furious movies. People always say, like, when are they going to go to space? The history of like franchises getting to space, it's like Moonraker is like
Yeah.
the one example, and it's like,
Jason X.
yeah,
Oh,
does
yeah.
that break it?
Yeah.
Well, so I tweeted this out once because I was driving, I don't know, I was like on the 101 at some point, and there's a dam over there somewhere. And I realized.
We had a long conversation about
We had a
this.
very long conversation where I was like, no one has blown up the Hoover Dam in a really long time. in a movie that matters. They did in was it San Andreas? Someone pointed out.
Obviously,
Superman,
the Richard
the
Donner
movie.
Superman.
Wait, no,
yes.
but I'm saying recently.
Oh, I didn't see
Team
San Andreas.
Yeah.
America, I think. Team
Okay,
America did
but
it, I
that's,
believe.
yeah, so that might have been like
There's
the
a
last.
very impressive set piece.
Yeah.
They blow up that whole thing. There's
Yeah.
a very elaborate
Yeah.
detail to
But
that.
I
It's
would
great.
love to like get, I don't know if he's running across water or if he's running up the dam trying to stop it from exploding. I would
Kind
just,
of GoldenEye, Shades of GoldenEye. Remember that was the
GoldenEye.
opening.
Yeah.
Him going
Exactly.
down the dam.
Yeah.
yeah. So I feel there's more stuff to mine here on Earth.
Yeah, I'm just no, I'm just
You're
thinking
on
of.
Earth, yes.
Is this a good episode? I can't tell. I'm sorry if it's not.
I think it's good. It's good
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
We're just talking Mission Impossible. That's what we do here.
Well, I feel like last time I was on, you hadn't had any of like the amazing,
I think that
I
was
think
the
it was
first.
the start. I think it started with Patrick.
I think you
Yeah,
were
that's
maybe
very
our
good.
first guest actually, but it was also the first episode where we brought up, which I wanted to bring up today, was how we're in a golden age of dog cinema. Because I saw Crawl last night, and there was a great dog in Crawl.
yeah.
Really does some great
A
dog
mutt?
acting.
A mutt, too?
A very great dog acting.
Will you be
in Crawl.
seeing the Milo Ventimiglia race car dog?
Yes,
Yeah, I
of
think so.
course. I was
Was it-
crying
was it-
watching the trailer.
the art of racing in the rain.
Yeah.
We released at work. We released the Picard
It looks
book.
ridiculous. It looks
Yeah,
totally
Picard has a
ridiculous.
dog.
But
Yeah, the
I
Picard
will watch.
poster, the
What-
dog.
Yeah, is he a Frenchie or what is it?
He looks like I have not met the dog, but
Right.
the
Wait,
dog.
the new Star Trek show has a dog?
yeah, the poster. There's Picard.
This is the golden
Picard
age.
with the
This
dog.
is
Yeah.
a golden age. Star Trek has a dog now.
yeah.
Exactly.
No, Star Trek has had dogs before. Archer had Porthos on Enterprise. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There have been dogs.
Good.
Wow.
Okay. What was I going to
So
say?
Kendra, are you saying helicopter chase?
No, for me, it's the fight. Like it's the
bathroom
bathroom
fight.
fight. Yeah.
So okay, so bathroom fight, Paris.
I think I'm gonna go with Paris.
Yeah.
Which I also we've talked about this on the show before. I think McQuarrie tweeted about this, or maybe it was on the DVD, Blu-ray features or something, that it was influenced by the short film Rendezvous. Have you watched that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. We'll post it again.
Yeah.
But it's just like a short film, just driving through Paris, like one continuous
Was
shot.
it in like the early 70s?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Do we have any wrap-up
Should we
thoughts?
do? Yeah, like do we do a top? Can you do a top 5? Or top 3?
How about just favorite in the entire franchise?
I think for me it might, and this is weird because in a video last year I ranked my top 5 at the time pre-Fallout. I think I'm gonna change that answer. Honestly, seeing it on the big screen again recently, it's Langley.
Yeah.
I just like the silence of it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that poor dork who keeps going to the bathroom.
Yeah, does no work.
And then gets
He
sent to
reads a
Alaska.
paper, yeah.
Yeah, which then also it's not part of the scene, but one of my favorite split diopter shots in cinema history when he is in the corner of the frame as like
Sort of nervously,
as Kittredge is like in the
Oh,
foreground.
when they're talking about sending him to Alaska. Or whatever.
It's great. No, it's Langley for me.
Yeah, I think so too. Sure.
Yeah. If I had to pick one, I guess I would go with Langley. But I think close behind is Dubai, Paris, and the helicopters. So 2 of them from Fallout.
Yeah.
And
Kendra, where do you?
and then Dubai from Ghost Protocol, of course, is really, really close to being the top.
Yeah.
And then Langley is still my favorite. I think we did this on our Ranking Impossible episode like a year ago. But
I'm going with Dubai for the top one, the entire
Wow.
Dubai
Oh,
sequence.
wow.
Yeah, that is my favorite.
I respect it.
Yeah.
It's my number
I mean,
2.
It's not a wrong choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for
I know.
coming.
Yeah, we could just keep talking forever.
We could keep talking.
Sorry, we don't want to keep you anymore.
Yeah.
Thank
No.
you for giving me yet another excuse to talk about these movies.
Do you have social media you can plug and tell people where you are? Or?
Yeah, it's very easy. So watch the videos that I make. Watch the Mission Impossible ones. Maybe even watch the non-Mission Impossible ones.
You had a good Terrence Malick one recently, which I have a bone to
Yes,
pick with
I
you
love-
because I love the new Terrence
Okay,
Malick
okay.
movies.
Ooh, it's
Love
alright.
the
Wait,
new
We'll
Terrence
do this.
Malick.
We'll discuss this off air.
I'm jealous. I wish I did.
Yes.
I tried.
I was talking to a friend of mine. It was my roommate freshman year of college. He's also a big film guy, and both of us, we think, are the only people who saw every one of the new Malick movies in theaters, and both versions of Voyage of Time.
I was there for
in
that,
theaters. Yes.
And Voyage of Time, I wanted to watch it for this. You can't get it anywhere.
No, I'm furious.
I
I
think
want
there's
it
going
so
to be
badly.
a Criterion box set.
We
That's
went.
like the-
We went to see the version at the AMC that had. It was like the super wide version. It was called like Voyage of Time 3.6 because the aspect ratio was 3.6 to 1.
Wow. I will say, one of my good friends who's in my videos sometimes, she's an opera singer, and they did a thing at BAM, the Brooklyn Academy of Music in New York, of like a screening of Voyage of Time, and Terrence Malick was there, but with a live orchestra, and she sang
I wanted
in
that's so
I wanted to
cool.
go to that so badly. I was so mad I was stuck here.
But yeah, anyway, Terrence Malick, yeah. I made a video about that guy. He's funny. Twirling. So
He loves Zoolander,
he loves Zoolander.
which is awesome.
But the video is at youtube.com/Patrick H. Willems. I'm on all the social media platforms at Patrick H. Willems. And, semi-related to what we were just talking about, I recently launched a podcast called Can't Get Enough of Keanu, exploring the filmography of Keanu Reeves, movie by movie. And you can find it on all podcast platforms.
We love
And
Keanu.
Kendra.
Where am I? I'm on Twitter, at Kendra James with an underscore. Please tweet at the right Kendra James. Don't tweet at the porn star. She'll get mad at me. It's a whole thing. So there's
I
We
didn't
gotta
know
make sure
about that.
we were tagging the right
Yeah.
Kendra James.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's
jeez.
actually there's multiple porn stars now named Kendra James. It's very weird. So yeah, make sure you tweet at the right one.
Wow.
I'm the managing editor of StarTrek.com, where we publish a lot of cool stories that I have edited. Go check all those out. They're newsy. There's lists. There's lots of really cool stuff. What else can you find me at? Relaunching my podcast soon called The Kids Table, which will be on all the major podcast platforms. And it's basically we watch 90s kids movies and talk about them from a 2019 perspective.
I love that.
Which is oftentimes doesn't go very well because upskirt jokes in Rodney Dangerfield movies would not be considered a child's movie anymore.
Ladybugs.
Is that Ladybugs?
That's Ladybugs.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So that's where you can find me.
Great.
Wow, I loved all the sports kids movies in the 90s, like
Yeah.
Mighty Ducks and Little Giants. And
The
stuff
Big
like
Green
that.
was released on my birthday.
Well, see,
Wow.
it started because I've never seen any of the Mighty Ducks. I've never seen Home
Wow.
Alone. I've never seen A Nightmare Before Christmas. I've never seen like any of these like classic movies. So Matt, who's in Patrick's videos, would get mad, and so I was like, well, let's create an excuse for me to watch them.
Yeah,
And-
your original co-host
Yes.
is now my co-host.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cross-pollination here
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
Again, we've known each other for a long time.
Yes.
Well,
You went to college together,
Yeah.
right?
We've
Is
known
that
each other
right?
since freshman year of college.
we lived across the hall.
wow.
Wow.
Well, we
Yeah.
appreciate both of you accepting this mission and hope we can do it soon.
Hope it again.
Again, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'll do it again.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
that was great. I was so glad we got to have Kendra and Patrick back, and we got to meet Patrick, which was great.
Yeah. They have so much history, the two of them.
They do.
It's kind of like you and me.
Yeah, it's true.
They've known each other for probably...
Not as long.
Not as long.
No.
Because we're old.
We are old, and we've known each other longer.
Yes.
But we want to just remind everyone, if you want to hear the rest of this conversation, go to the Patreon and subscribe. Obviously, wherever you're listening, like, subscribe, rate, and review. It would help us out a lot.
Yes,
and
please write us a review. That would be great.
write us over Twitter or Instagram or wherever.
Yeah, anytime you have questions or ideas or whatever, idea for an episode. We're still asking for people to tell us about video games.
Still.
So we are collecting information for our video games episode.
You have any other credits?
Well, this episode is brought to you by Jeremy Dillon, and it is mixed by Luke Burson. We want to thank all our Patreon subscribers. And a special thank you to Jacob from Holland. So
he really puts gas in the tank.
He does. We love Jacob.
We love him. He's
great on the Skype chats and on Twitter. And so, we love our Patreon followers, all of them. Thank you guys so much. And please, if you are interested in the bonus content, we've got commentaries for the first 4 movies now.
That's crazy.
So you can listen to our commentary for 1, 2, 3, and Ghost Protocol. And, soon you'll have, maybe even by now, Rogue Nation will be recorded.
Maybe.
No, I think it'll be in the next couple weeks. So, sign up.
And next week we have a very special guest.
Oh, yeah, we do. Should we say who it is?
Yeah, we can say.
Now we can say. So Keith Campbell will be on the next 3 weeks of the podcast. Keith was...
But for a reason.
For a very good reason.
Which is?
Keith was Tom Cruise's stunt double for Mission Impossible 1 and Mission Impossible 2, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
It's really cool that we got to talk to Keith. He has had an incredible career, and we can't wait for you to hear that. You got to tune in, come back next week, the next 3 weeks. You're going to hear so many great stories. It's so cool.
And until then.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. And before we go, another mission, should you choose to accept it. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. And remember that you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LightTheFusePod and email us questions or comments at lightthefusepodcasts@gmail.com. If you'd like to watch the original Mission Impossible television show, all 7 seasons are currently available to stream on Amazon Prime. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.